All right, so this is going to be a review of The Flash. It's the newest DCEU movie. We're still in the DCEU. I feel like they should have restarted the universe years ago, really when Zack Snyder left, but we're still here until the DCU, I guess. um, Whatever. But this is directed by Andy Muschietti. I've seen that he's done some horror movies like the 2017 It and It Chapter 2 and things. Just horror movies, so I guess maybe a strange pick, but whatever. I'll say how I feel about this movie in a second. So we got Barry Allen, played by Ezra Miller again, the Flash. He's working at that forensics lab, which was set up at the end of whichever Justice League. It might have been both of them. I don't remember. But whatever, he's working there. He's already late, but he's going to be even more late because Ben Affleck Batman calls him, needs his help. He goes there, does his Flash thing, comes back, he's late. So he ends up talking to Iris West. He's still having issues with trying to prove his father's innocence when it comes to his mother's death. Talks to Ben Affleck, Bruce Wayne about it and everything. Finally, he comes to the realization that he can actually use the Speed Force to go back in time as long as he isn't seen and make it so that his mom survived. So he does that, and he goes, to use the Speed Force to come back to the present, and some other creature, some other being comes in and punches him out of it. So he ends up going to a time earlier than he meant to. So he's not in present day. And things are very different. He ends up meeting his 18-year-old self. That's a lot different because he had his mom in his life. He's a lot more sheltered and irresponsible. And they have to come together and try to figure something out because Superman, Aquaman, at least this version of Batman, Michael Keaton Batman is around, but not Ben Affleck's version. Cyborg, they are not around. And Zod is coming down because it's the Man of Steel, thing going on to terraform the Earth and everything like that. So they have to come together and, along with Michael Keaton's Batman, and they find this other superpowered person, not Superman, but Supergirl, played by Sasha Cale. And they have to figure out a way to stop Zod, and hopefully Barry can get things back to normal. So I liked parts of this movie, but I feel like it was ultimately underwhelming. It is very reliant on fan service, whether it be for the DCEU, like the earlier movies, or other DC properties or other, movies and things like that, especially towards the end. And it just kind of feels hollow when it comes down to it. But one thing that's the best thing in this movie, and I'm surprised because I never liked them in this role, is Ezra Miller. So Ezra Miller is great. Plays both these Barrys, obviously, and they do feel different. One of them is irresponsible. One of them is, well, the main one is the more responsible one, right? That version of Flash, he's been a superhero, and not only is he older, he's been a superhero for years. He lost his mother. He's been fighting to prove his dad's innocence. He's a lot more responsible and things like that, and a lot more smart and those things. And the younger Barry, he had his mother around. He's very sheltered. She helped him decorate his apartment and things like that. He's had a support system from the mom that the main Barry hasn't had, which is a nice window into an alternate universe, but then builds a great dynamic between the two. I love their interactions with each other. They work so well. There's emotional moments between them that really work, and there's some fun time travel stuff. The younger one obviously doesn't have his powers yet, so they have this whole thing where the main Barry, has to like make the circumstances happen to where the younger one can get his powers, and that was fun. Like there's some fun time travel and like alternate universe concepts here that I think would have made for at least an okay movie, maybe even a good one, if they'd have just focused on that and ditched the fan service. Because, it would have been a stronger movie there overall, I think. There's an emotional moment having to do with the mom towards the end that actually had me tearing up, right? It doesn't feel as earned as it should be because we've been doing all this other mess, but it did do something for me. So there are things that work here. There's that fight scene with those Russian soldiers with Michael Keaton Batman, and it's good. It's good. It's definitely the best action scene in the movie. Something else keeps the other action scenes from being good, but that was good. Most of it's in the trailer, but that was good. And I thought his performance was good. Pretty much all the performances are good here, including the Supergirl actress. But Ezra Miller, I think, is the standout here. All right, so let's get into it. So that's all my positives. So, unfortunately for this movie, it is part of one of the messiest film universes ever created. It has these moments. Obviously, you have the whole thing with Man of Steel and things like that. There's a character that pops up earlier on in the movie that was not in any of the trailers and things like that, which is clearly supposed to be a moment, right? This movie stops dead for moments constantly, and they don't work as well. Actually, I was in the theater with, like, it was like a halfway full theater, somewhere around there. And these fan service moments got like no reaction, especially the ones that have to do with the DCEU universe. There's a lack of development, right? Of definitely the characters, because Supergirl is barely a character in this. She's here to fight Zod. That's it. I mean, I can't even remember how many lines she had. It's maybe like a couple. I don't know. I don't remember her saying all that much, right? And she doesn't really have that much to do. The actress was, I thought, good, but she didn't have much to really do. So she didn't really leave that much of an impression. Michael Keaton Batman, he is here for nostalgia. That's it. The movie keeps stopping dead for these moments with him, right? Where, because they're like, oh man, we got him. Yeah, we got to really play this up. And it's like, man, I mean, each moment with him feels like it was like, all right, which one of these or how many of these are we gonna put in the trailer? Because the movie stops dead for them and it feels cheap. Even though I like him in the movie, I mean, he's my favorite live action Batman. It did feel cheap, and his character, this version of his character, felt underdeveloped because he's not really a character. The only real characters in this are the two Barrys, and that works. But everything else just kind of feels like noise. It's just messy as fuck, right? It's a lot, man. It really is. The reason why I said that Michael Keaton action scene was, the best one and the other ones have issues is because this movie consistently has terrible CGI. I mean, the effects are fucking awful. The effects, the green screen, it looks terrible. Like, literally, I don't even know if I could say it enough, right? Like, if you're somebody who's criticized the MCU when it comes to when it comes to MODOK and stuff like that, She-Hulk looked terrible and things like that. If you're one of those people who's criticized those things, you can't go see this movie and then, like, make excuses for it, because it is all through the movie. It looks terrible. Barry Allen in this newer red Flash outfit. I like it. I think it has a nice design. But was Ezra Miller ever in it? Because it looks CGI pretty much all the time, right? Like, pretty much just standing still, going to reach for anything, move for anything. It just looks stiff, right? You got that scene at the beginning that goes on for way too long, and that's in slow-mo, and it looks so bad because they have to, both the Barrys are running at high speeds. In order for us to know what's going on, obviously there's going to be some slow-mo involved, and it really shows you just how bad the effects are. They really are that bad. The climax of this movie with that big bombastic fight, it's nothing but just CGI everywhere, and it looks like shit. Like, it really does. It's already kind of a lame fight. It already doesn't feel like it has all that much weight to it as a result of the context of it, because obviously the main Barry Allen is not, this is not his universe or whatever. He has to make things right eventually anyway. So there's already kind of a less weight to it. And that's the big climactic fight of the movie. And there's no weight to it at all. There's every now and then you get certain moments and things, especially with Michael Keaton Batman, because we have to milk the nostalgia. But other than that, it's just lightning, explosions, and this and that. And it just all looks so bad, especially like even when Flash is standing still, like, it's bad. Even before that, when you have the Speed Force can see these different time periods for Flash to interact with, and that is just CGI nonsense, and it's not even trying to look real, right? I don't know who decided to make that visual choice, but it all looks video gamey. Like, it really does. Like, at many times in this, especially with that, it's video game-esque type CGI. I have not seen a movie, whether it be superhero movie or whatever, in a long time that has CGI this bad consistently. I think just about all of the effects in this movie look like shit, just about. But then we have that big fan service thing that happens towards the end, right? Because that's what this is, just endless moments like that. That has to do with, I won't say, but it has to do with different things in the DC fandom and things like that. References to other things, other movies, and it is so ugly because it looks like the time travel stuff, where it just looks completely fake and computerized. It's terrible. I can't tell you enough how bad the effects are. And wait till you see it. Wait till you see it. And it's already just a really terrible ending, especially the way the very end is like, really, you're gonna end it like that? I mean, the ending was so bad that this is a superhero movie. Nobody waited for the end credit scene. I waited for the mid credit and there wasn't one, but I'm pretty sure there's an end credit scene. Most of us left either before the mid credit scene was going to be there, or hopefully, or right after seeing that there wasn't a mid credit scene, just left. Early on, I did think that this was actually going to be good or at least okay. But then as it went on, it just gets so cheap with the fan service. Ezra Miller, I think, is legitimately great. And that's the main thing that kind of keeps this movie watchable. But with all the kind of cheap, cringy fan service stuff that didn't really work all that much, with how messy the story is and all over the place, and how there's a lack of development of the characters and the story, and it's just, the CGI is fucking awful. Like it still left me completely underwhelmed, right? And even though I was kind of enjoying it early on, by the end of it, I was like, yeah, this wasn't very good. So anyway, I'm gonna give it a rental. It is watchable, and it does have those things that I said worked, but ultimately it still fell flat for me. Maybe if the fan service stuff completely works for you, you would like lose it and be hype over this. But I don't see that happening because a lot of it was kind of lame. But anyway, yeah, that's The Flash. This universe is a mess and it needs to end, right? And certain things that people said would happen as a result of this movie, they may have happened, but not really by the end of it. So I'll leave it at that. But anyway, rental, and that's The Flash. We're done.